basically, when it comes to the EB2 NIW, everything is based on a president decision, which is called the matter of Dinosaur, and that's bringing up the point about the proposed endeavor, right? So, like, one of the prongs is that it has to be of substantial merit and of national importance. What is it that you're doing in your profession that it's going to enhance, this society, the American society, the United States, right? Maybe on the technological side, on the scientific side, on the agricultural side, on national defense side. So that's basically how we address that, right? We make sure that they understand that whatever profession the candidate has is a profession that is very important for this country, and this country needs a lot more people like them. The second prong focuses on whether or not the person is well positioned to advance that proposed endeavor, right? And what we look at is that the education, the experience, what they've done before, how successful they've been. For example, if they're on the financial side, entrepreneurial side, right? How successful they've been, in generating revenue and all that. So that's the way that you sort of, prove that, right? And then the third one is it's on balance if it's beneficial to the United States to waive the requirement of the labor certification. I'm pretty sure that you know what that is. Just basically, when a company wants to sponsor you, you can go through the process, but it's a lot longer. You definitely have to have a sponsor company from the United States. You got to deal with the Department of Labor. After the Department of Labor, if they approve it, then you move on to the immigration stage of it, right? So on balance, you have to prove that it's better not to have you go through those extra steps and just simply allow you to come in and benefit this country, right? So I think that's something that's important that people understand about the proposed endeavor. And once again, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I can't tell you how much easier my life is when I have a good professional plans and business plans and contacts potential employers once a person has a green card in here to sort of convince immigration that we've sort of checked that checkbox. You know what I mean?
I know it's a lot of matchmaking in terms of based on what they do and that they're really well positioned to, advance that endeavor in the United States. Mm-hmm. But what are some recent approvals that you've had where it was you kind of knew it was going to get approved or it had a very high likelihood of getting approved? Like what type of proposed endeavors? Was it more on the entrepreneur side? Was it more on someone seeking employment in the US? Could you share a couple of examples?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, this, like I said, we like to also utilize a lot of what government initiatives are out there, right? So I think I saw a video that you put out a couple of days ago.
Exactly, a week ago, we did the critical industries directly from Joe Biden's office.
So we try to pair those up, right? And try to make sure that, they understand that this is something that it's of importance to the United States.
Your boss's boss's boss says
it's saying that we need this, right? We need green energy. We can't just be dependent on other countries to, have, the agricultural side grow, right? So we have, for example, green energy, candidates, obviously for confidentiality. I can't tell you too much, but I can tell you about, what happened. People who have worked in sort of building highways and structures, in their particular countries, there are green, right? They're going to reduce emissions, or they're going to make it, easier for them to do their projects without, having a huge impact on the environment. As well, on the agricultural side, we had a really, really interesting case. And that's why I keep bringing the vertical farming stuff, because it was so interesting to me.
I've dived into it just a little bit, but it's wild. Yeah. The vertical.
It really is. It really is, because I mean, if you think about it, you need hundreds of acres, right, to grow whatever, potatoes or lettuce or whatever it is. But then you can do that at the same amount in a warehouse, and it's just stacked up, right?
And it's so dense. It can be so much more dense than in roofs.
And the roofs of buildings, they're implementing that in a lot of major cities as well. So we see that a lot.
So imagine it's a civil engineer. Maybe they had one green project, but they're not an environmental engineer, and their proposed endeavor is going to be more on the green energy space. Is that okay, or do you want someone that's just been doing green engineering projects in Colombia or whatever country, and they're going to be doing the same thing in the U.S.?
Right. Well, obviously, having much more experience in that particular subject helps out, but it doesn't mean that you can completely, take it out, right? What you try to argue, and this is where the professional plan comes in, right? And our legal arguments is that, given how qualified this person is, right, the history of this person, those talents, right, can be then translated into industries, very easily translated into industries that are of need, right? Like the green energy and vertical farming and stuff that we're talking about. So it's not all lost, right? It makes it a little bit more difficult, but that's why me and you are here, right? To try to make it easier.
Exactly. And yeah, there are some like total layup cases where it's like a PhD student already in the United States, already working on his thesis on this da-da-da. And that's kind of the proposed endeavor. And there's, a whole scale of terms of how difficult it is. And to be frank, if it's too difficult, there's usually some better visa category for them. And
exactly. It's not
if
all
we can
lost.
help them with the opportunity, we will help. And Joaquin can help with whatever visa category that is.
It's not all lost. The good thing about these visas, Patrick, is that I always tell people, don't give up. You might not fit the profile right now. And mind you, we're a little bit more picky because we're not in the business of just selling stuff. You know what I mean? If I'm not getting approvals, I'm not going to get a good reputation, right?
You're not going to like move countries like right away or start practicing like ditch immigration law.
Exactly. So you can always work on your profile and make it better.